The earliest idea from the story is that we didn't want to have an internal rift in the IMF. It felt as though several of the movies had done that, and we didn't want to do that again. At the same time, we knew we had to have some sort of a pressure on the team. You had to have somebody coming down on the IMF, and that was the introduction of the CIA as an element that was creating pressure on the IMF other than the villain. So we knew that was something very early on. The other idea that we knew we wanted to bring a woman into the story who was not a member of the team, but was somehow more of a foil to Ethan than somebody who was subordinate to him. And that was the very early genesis of Ilsa's character. Tom and I, the way we work together, Tom comes to the process from a very emotional point of view, and I come to the process from a very analytical and very ordered point of view. Tom will say, "This is what I want the audience to feel in a scene. How would you best bring that feeling to the screen?" And then I come to it with my process and say, "Here's the A, B, C, and D to get to that place." So it creates a very healthy environment because I don't have to worry so much about covering all the bases because I know Tom is there sort of looking at it from his perspective. Tom as a producer is the best partner you could possibly hope to have. I mean, he understands the Mission Impossible franchise inside and out, obviously, having worked on it for 20 years. But also as the star of the franchise is sort of there with you every minute of the day, protecting you and supporting you and pushing you to work outside of your comfort zone. Support during production is incredible. He's a 24-hour-a-day movie-making machine. Loves making movies, loves being part of the process. There's no place he'd really rather be. Even when you're shooting inserts, a little shot of Tom's shoe, that'll be Tom. You know, he could very easily have just left the shoe there, but Tom wants to be there. He wants to be part of every single aspect of it. And so you have all of that collective experience, not to mention the fact that Tom has worked with so many incredible directors over a 30-year career, and he learns from all of them. He's not somebody who comes to the process saying, "I've been doing this a long time and this is my way and this is how we do it." Every single experience he has with a director, he comes to it with a clean slate and a fresh pair of eyes saying, "What can I learn from this person?" Ethan at the beginning of this movie is in a different place than he's ever been in any of the other films, in that in all the other movies, he is in some way or another reluctant about his role in the IMF. Whether it's at the beginning of the film or the end, there's a sense of doubt. There's a sense of reluctance to return to the job. And by the end of Ghost Protocol, I felt that had been completely resolved. He had really come full circle and decided that this was his destiny. So I didn't ever want to have Ethan being the reluctant hero or pulling away from what his responsibility was. I wanted him to be full on. And that, of course, meant that the beginning of the film was about somebody for whom this is his life. This is all there is in the world. And he has all of that taken away from him, including his friends. And yet he doesn't stop. Even without the IMF, Ethan would not cease to be Ethan Hunt. The choice to present Ilsa in the way that we did came from the fact that I very much wanted whoever the woman in the movie was to stand on her own 2 feet. I was less interested in a romantic relationship than I was in a relationship between two equals. As far as who that woman would be, I really didn't know. And there was an enormous time pressure because whoever was going to play Ilsa had to undergo a certain amount of physical training to be ready for the role. And it came down to the last day. Wade Eastwood, the stunt coordinator on the film, said, if I don't start training somebody this week, no matter who that person is, they won't be ready. And it was on that day that Tom and I were watching a bunch of auditions at the very last minute. And we saw a little 3-minute audition with Rebecca Ferguson. And we looked at each other and said, that's her. That's who we've been looking for. And so we very quickly flew her to London and had a screen test with her. And she was fabulous. We knew when she walked in the room she had the job.